Good morning, everybody. We should be in social studies. It is April 29th, Wednesday. We are going to be reading our learning target for our opening. Our mini lesson, we're going to read some vocabulary words out loud. And for our work period, we are going to be watching this YouTube video and reading an article about Australia's history. And then you guys are going to take a 3-question quiz at the end. So let's start. Our learning target. I can explain the impact of British discrimination on Aboriginal culture and lifestyle in the 20th century. This is something that we're going to be working on for the next 2 days, talking about the Aborigine people and the history of Australia. So let's look at our mini lesson. 2 vocabulary words. Aborigines. They were the first immigrants who came from Asia 40,000 years ago. This is important to know that they came from Asia, okay? And boomerang, a flat, bent wooden tool that hunters throw to stun prey. This is a picture of a boomerang. Now, let's get on to our work period. You should be watching this video and reading along as I do a read aloud. Australia's history and people. Australia's Aborigines are the descendants of the first immigrants who came from Asia at least 40,000 years ago. For centuries, the nomadic Aborigines, they hunted, gathered plants, and searched for water. They developed a weapon called a boomerang. It is a flat, bent wooden tool that hunters throw to stun prey. If the boomerang misses, it curves and sails back to the hunter. The Dutch were the first Europeans to travel to Australia in the late 1600s. In 1770, Captain James Cook reached Australia and claimed it for Great Britain. So that's important, guys. The Dutch were the first people to actually see Australia, but the British people, the English, were the first people to claim it. They said Australia is going to be ours. And that is why people in Australia speak English just like the Americans do. Americans, people from the United States, mostly speak English because the British people came to America and they colonized America. Well, the same thing happened in Australia. In Australia, the British people came and they colonized Australia, and that's why the Australians speak English. At first, the British government used Australia as a place to send prisoners, okay? So that's important. Back in the day, when Australia first became colonized, the British people had an overload of people in jail. They had too many people in jail. They didn't know what to do with them. People were escaping from jail. So they thought, we can bring them to this place called Australia and we can leave them there because Australia is an island and a continent and they can't get off. So there's no way that the people that were on Australia could get back to Great Britain if they dropped them off there. So that's what the British government did. They took prisoners and they left them there. Eventually, though, the British set up colonies, especially after some gold was discovered in the outback, which is the desert, in 1851. And then the land was taken from the Aborigines. So just like in Latin America, when the indigenous people were killed, their land was taken, same thing happened here. They were killed by a lot of European diseases and all of their land was taken. Today, nearly 300,000 Aborigines live in Australia. A lot of them are having to move to the cities to find jobs because they just don't have any more jobs. There's not much to do in the outback. And in 1967, the Australian government, they finally recognized the Aborigine people as Australian citizens. So the Aborigine people really have had the raw end of the deal. These poor people, they lived there first, and when Great Britain came, they ended up pushing out these Aborigines from their homes, stealing basically all of their natural resources and killing a lot of them with diseases, just like in Latin America and just like in America today. So these are things to remember because these are things that are going to be on your quiz today, and these are things that are going to be on your test. Remember, the Aborigine people came from Southeast Asia, okay? British prisoners were sent to Australia because it was a remote location, meaning no one was there. They couldn't get off the island, right? And Because the British colonized Australia, Australians speak what language? They speak English. Okay? So those are going to be your questions today. I want you to click activity, click quiz, and click April 29th, Australia's history, and take a 3-question quiz. Thank you so much.